This is Paul Turner, the Immigration Barrister at Imperium Chambers. Well, the short title for this is Brexit Bites, Don't Be Bitten, and it's going to discuss the EU settlement scheme and some of the problems that I've encountered. At the moment, I've received an unusual number of inquiries about the EU settlement scheme. This is causing a lot of problems as the Home Office held back a load of cases and are now issuing refusals. A lot of them based on the lack of an ID card or identity document by the individual who happens to be a non-EEA national. I am briefly going to address some of the main problems and what can be done, especially as the deadline of the 30th of June 2021 is fast approaching and people are having problems which isn't helped by the COVID pandemic. The largest amount of refusals or problems or people that are concerned are where people do not have an ID document. And this has led, in my view, to some ridiculous refusals given the evidence that's been submitted. However, if you do not have what appears to be a valid ID document, whether EU or non-EU, you can still apply. In fact, your country may have extended the validity of the ID document due to the embassy being closed, so it's worth checking. But more importantly, if you just don't have any ID document, you can still apply, but it's going to be much harder, and I would advise getting professional help. Contact needs to be made with the EU Settlement Resolution Centre, it's a mouthful, and asked for an application to be sent to you by post. However, it will be very important to provide evidence why an ID document can't be submitted. Indeed, it will be necessary to show that the applicant cannot produce the ID document, quote, due to circumstances beyond their control or due to compelling practical or compassionate reasons, which is a bit of a mouthful, but it means you need a proper explanation. As I've said, this will involve some considerable preparation given some of the refusals I've seen that should have perhaps just gone through and should be done by a professional. Use your lawyer or come to me. While the government has trumpeted the EUSS is easy, in reality for individuals without ID documents or some non-EEA nationals, it is proving to be an absolute nightmare. In any event, even if you don't have a valid ID document, any form of ID document that you have should be submitted even if it has expired. The second problem, which is far less important and easier to overcome, is that of residence. If you want to show that you've been either continually resident in the United Kingdom or that you are a resident. In respect to that, the Home Office, if you provide your NI number, can carry out checks with HMRC. If you haven't got that, then provide continuous documentary evidence showing that you've been here. Also, and this might sound stupid, make sure the documents are in English. Or if they're not in English, make sure that they're certified or notarised to ensure that the Home Office accepts them rather than rejects them just because they're not in the English language. Another common question, which I've been asked, especially due to COVID, which I'll come to, is what happens if you've been outside the UK for more than 6 months? The answer is fairly straightforward. If you want to apply for settled status, you will not have a break of more than 6 months in a year. However, not all absences are equal and will break the continuity. The rules are complicated, and if this applies to you, then please get in touch and I'll see what I can do. No discussion would be complete without a mention of the COVID pandemic and its impact on the EUSS. If you've been kept out of the country due to COVID, this can form an important reason as to why you should be treated as having continuity of residence. Again, professional advice is advisable to avoid an unnecessary refusal. And the last point seems absolute madness. Some people will have EU residence cards that expire after the 30th of June 2021. However, these will essentially become redundant. So if you want to ensure that you can stay and live and work in the United Kingdom, please apply for the EUSS, even if you do have a residence card at the moment. As you can see from the above, there are a number of issues that are coming to the surface with the EUSS, notwithstanding the government saying that it was going to be simple and could be done on a smartphone and very, very easy. In fact, people had suspicions about this because of the large numbers of applications that were held back and now seem to be coming forward as refusals. So if you have any doubts or you have any concerns, you have applied or you're thinking of applying, then please do get in touch with me or your lawyer, and if it's me, then I will advise you how you can best obtain settlement or settled status or pre-settled status under the EUSS. It is vital you act quickly because the deadline of the 30th of June 2021 is coming closer and closer, and due to the coronavirus pandemic, government and everything is working much slower than usual. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching. This is Paul Turner, the Immigration Barrister at Imperium Chambers.